Boy, just be yourself. If people don't like it if you're being yourself, fuck them. Let me tell you something. I used to go with a girl when I was about your age. I tried to please her peppy all the time. Went out my way to please her peppy. I come in one day, I said, nice weather we having. Said, you can't say that. You can't say that, it might rain. I said, nice tie you got on. Said, you can't say that. My wife tried to choke me with it. Point I'm trying to tell you, son, is be yourself. People don't like how you be yourself. Fuck them. Fuck them up against the wall. Wear handcuffs on and crazy through on their lips. That's all you do.
Words to live by.
You live by them, son.
Okay, I'm gonna go to the club now, Uncle Vester, and just go.
You go and enjoy yourself, boy.
Yo, what up, MulTYversed? It's your host, Bad Ty Bricks. We are back. It's another week. We are excited for today's show. I'm sure everybody's wondering what's going on with MulTYversed. They over here screaming, fuck them kids. Well, you'll be glad to know we are not talking about the minors or the underage. We are talking about those grown-ass kids. Fuck them grown-ass kids. I've said it, and I stand on it. Bernie has led me to the light today, y'all. So we're going to start the show off the right way, get it popping. I'll be back in 1 second. But until then, man, let's get it, man. Where the hell is my damn shit? Oh, shit. Oh, well, I was going to get it. But looks like somebody's been in my shit. Oh, my gosh. You've been in my shit. Well, we'll do this. All right, y'all. This is new. This is different, but we're gonna make it work today. All right. Back at it. Here with my boy. Can't do nothing without you, man. What's going on, baby?
What up, man? Yeah. Oh, man, that scene from House Party 3 is one of my all-time favorite scenes. That movie was a favorite of mine as a kid, and I would quote that scene being way too young to quote that scene, but I was sitting here quoting it while it was playing, enjoying the hell out of it. So thank you for that. I appreciate that.
Man. It was powerful. I felt like we needed Bernie to kind of, put us in the mindset to talk about what we need to talk about today, man. But we did bring us a special guest, someone who's been at here at the show before. Someone who we love their opinions on things, and whenever it comes to parenting and things of anything that has to do with kids and family and relationships, we love to bring this lady back. Hey, I want everybody to give a big round of applause. For Maddie.
Welcome.
What's going on, man? It is so good to see you again. It is a pleasure to have you back on the show. And I brought you back for a subject that I know you can give us a really good poignant opinion on. So without further ado, let's jump into it. Dr. Dre. We're gonna get into you, brother, because you've been in the news recently. I don't know if you knew about this, Maddie, but Mr. Andre Young is currently divorced, most recently divorced, and was in the middle of a very, I'm not going to say very, but a little distasteful, ugly little lawsuit with his ex-wife. Just to give you a little bit of insight on what happened with Mr. Young, his wife of, I believe, 24 years decided to file for divorce for what she claims to be abuse and other allegations of infidelity and things like that. But needless to say, she feels like she's owed a substantial amount of money. That substantial amount of money that she requested, I think, was somewhere in upwards of $3 to $4 million dollars a year, I believe.
Wow.
Which is a lot of money. Yes.
Yeah.
But it turns out that the court did in fact rule in her favor, and she was awarded 3.5 million.
Wow.
So she's getting right now $293,300 a month. That's her spousal support a month. So that's not yearly, that's a month.
And I'm sure she's still angry at him.
Well, I don't know that he cares or even that she cares at this point.
No, not that she cares or he cares, but she's still walking around. Even with all that money, some people still angry about what he did.
Okay, I'll take it. That's probably a fair assessment. But I don't mind being angry if I had $300,000 a month.
I'll be like happy. I have this money and I'm good. I'm moving on to the next.
I mean, happy is an understatement. 300,000 a month. That's life changing. I'm sure for her, it's just it's normal, and everything like that. But wow, man, that's a lot of money, man. 300,000. Do you think? First of all, let me just kind of ask you this question, since we have you here. Do you think that is fair? It's fair for her to ask for that amount, or is that like a little excessive, maybe?
I feel that if she was used to that lifestyle, so if my husband and I got divorced and I was at a certain lifestyle, and I would want to continue that lifestyle unless I didn't think that way and worked hard for myself. But most women are going to be like, hey, you had me at this lifestyle. This is what I want.
Okay.
So either she didn't meet that much and she fought for more just to be spiteful. I don't know. But I know I've seen a video, something that she kind of bashed the new girlfriend or the new fiance or whoever she is. So she's
he's got a new girlfriend already.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
just one.
Doesn't seem as though Dre's mad at all. Then it sounds like Dre's over it. Dre is well over it. Tyrone, I mean, have you heard anything about this situation with Dre and his ex-wife?
Yeah, no, just basically what you went over. You know what I mean? It seems like there was sounds like maybe a long time pattern of a certain level of alleged abuse and things like that. And yeah, I mean, I don't expect anybody to stick around for anybody for any amount of money. Respect is priceless. So if you're not getting it, then go find it. But yeah, I mean, it helps when you leave a situation, an abusive situation, if that's what it was. And we have, I'm sure that there's going to be, there's probably going to be some sort of tell-all or something, or some, a moment in time where she dives deeper publicly. I would imagine that would be the case eventually. But, for now, we just have to kind of take her at her word. And, if you're leaving that situation and you're leaving that situation with, $3.5 million a year in your pocket, I'm sure that would help to remedy some of the trauma of that abuse. Yeah. You know what I mean? But still, like I said, respect is priceless. And, it doesn't matter how much money you have. You got to treat your people right.
Now,
agree.
Now, what was that, Maddie?
I agree.
Now, one of the things that was also part of the ruling from the judge was, Dre will also pay the expenses for their Malibu and Pacific Palisade homes. So not only does he have to pay her $300,000 a month, but he also has to make sure that he maintains where she lives as well. And this is to be paid until she remarries or enters into a domestic partnership, or either of them die. Mm-hmm. Or the court says, enough is enough. So those are the only ways that he will have to stop paying this amount of money to her.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, that's his consequences. I mean, if he messed up, if he was abusive, if he cheated, whatever he did, I mean, there's consequences behind our, behavior, our actions. But some women will stay single and not get married just to get that for the rest of their life until they die, just out of spite.
Yeah, I don't mind. I'd be somebody's boyfriend if if I couldn't be their husband because they were getting paid millions of dollars a year. I'd be like, hey, I'll be your boyfriend forever. Like, you can call me whatever you want, boo or bae or whatever else. Like, you call me whatever. Yeah,
you don't have to publicize us. You don't have to make it public.
Right.
I'll be the boyfriend that no one ever sees. But
yep. You don't got to tag me in the Instagram post. You don't got to no happy birthday on Facebook or whatever. It's fine. We could just we could chill. It's just you and me.
Yeah, man. And I mean, so for me, it's a little bit excessive. I think, what was her lifestyle like before Dre? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I understand that she got used to this lifestyle while she was with Dre, but that doesn't mean that she doesn't know any other lifestyles, before or after Dre. But the idea that she has to continue that lifestyle in order to be happy, as though you didn't have a life before Dre, I think for the court systems, I think that's a little bit excessive to get for that amount. I mean, no matter how much money he has, like an amount is an amount, whether, whether you're rich or not. 50,000 is 50,000. So you can use 50,000 wisely and responsibly and live lavishly still a month. So this idea that 300,000 is the number, that will make her the most comfortable.
But that's probably chump change for him. He's got so much money. That's like nothing for him.
But again,
not only that, a lot of those decisions are not made on a case by case basis. As far as the amounts, it's a percentage, and
right.
Those I
know
California.
By he's making.
Yeah, I know California has very strict laws about that, and this is why we hear this story so much. You know what I mean? When celebrities get divorced or whatever, and you have alimony or child support, those numbers sound huge. Because if it was like, if it was one of us, I mean, I don't know how rich y'all are, but if it was like me, and I had a divorce and I had to pay 50% or whatever else, whatever I was supposed to pay. It wouldn't make the news. Let's just say that. But but when you have all that money and that percentage kicks in, the percentage, it hits you when you got all that money. So that's why when we hear that, we're like, damn, 300, almost 300,000 a month. Like that's ridiculous money. I mean, that's more money than I could even fathom having in a month. You know what I mean? The things I could do with that money, but also. That's just the way that the court sees it. They're like, hey, in this case, with spousal support or alimony or child support or whatever else, property, property ownership and things like that. It's 50-50 or it's whatever percentage, and it doesn't matter if you're a millionaire, billionaire, whatever. That percentage is going to be that percentage.
Right.
For me, it would be interesting to know how or what she had to do with his success, because they've been married 24 years. So Dre has been successful over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Is she the reason why he's successful? I mean,
most women are
garner like, his accolades? Should we be congratulating her instead of him? Like that. These are the type of things that I ponder when I think about 300. Because again, it's an amount. It's not. It's like whether it is chump change to him or a large amount to us. The reality of it is 300,000 is 300,000. Like that's what it is. So like I just want to know what she was doing throughout and what garners her to receive $300,000 a month. We're not talking about a year. We're talking about a month. So we're talking about $3.5 million for what? Like for what, really? Like that's where
she thought she can get more. I'm sure she thought she deserved more.
But why? Like, where's the? That's what
Because
I'm saying.
of the money that he
Where's the
makes.
entitlement coming
It's
from?
the money that he makes. The money that he makes is probably so much more than that. So she's like, that's like chump change. That's like you making $100,000 a year, and your ex-wife is getting 20,000 of it.
But my question, Maddie, is this though. When I was going to get the $100,000 a year, and I was going to work every day, and I did everything that I needed to do to get that $100,000, what makes her entitled to the $100,000 that I went and worked out for every single
Are
day?
you serious? You seriously asking that question?
I mean, it's a good question. I mean, like, we're not talking about.
Let's say that was
one second. We're not talking about a typical housewife. We're not talking about someone that stays at home, takes care of the kids, cleans the house, doing all that. We're not talking about that person. This person,
okay, I get that.
Nicole Young, she probably has maids, nannies, everything. You probably are hardly ever home. You shop, you do stuff with the girls. That's what you do as a wife. What entitles you to
the paper that she's his wife. That's what entitles her.
Oh my.
That's why a lot of people are like, I don't want to get married. It's the paper, that piece of paper.
But also, I mean, this is if it's going to be an issue for Dre, you know what I mean? I think he's like, if he's got a problem with anybody, he should probably have a problem with his lawyers. Right. If his lawyers let him go forward in this kind of situation with no kind of prenup or a bad prenup, and and like
they
that's
had a prenup, and from what I've gathered through different sources is supposedly at some point in time, Dre, from what his wife says, tore up the prenup. Now, because he was proving to her that it's more about love. It's not about the prenup. Okay, I get it. This is alleged. He tore up the prenup. So then he tried to say that regardless of him tearing up the prenup, it was still a legal and binding agreement. And somehow I guess he lost. He lost.
Well, he should have made a copy and torn up the copy and been like, here's a gesture, but also I got this copy in my safe deposit box or whatever. Yeah, that's it's hard not knowing what their household was like. If he was like in a moment of like, maybe he got caught doing some dumb shit and she was like, I want a divorce and that kind of thing, and he was like, no, just don't leave me, I need you. Here, I'm gonna show you how much I love you, I'll never do it again, and if I do it again, then I'm gonna tear this prenup up and you can take me for all my money. And who knows if it was something like that. Yeah, and that's again, this is all just kind of speculation because I don't know what that situation was like. I don't know what would possess somebody to to get rid of a document like that, especially when you're somebody who is damn near a billionaire. But yeah, it's interesting. Also, I mean, here I do want to put some of the responsibility back onto Dr. Dre. If you have that kind of money and you are a public figure and that kind of stuff, act right. You know what I mean? Like like I said, take care of your people, act right. Don't put yourself in these situations. If he was being abusive,
if you have that kind of money, you could put yourself in that situation because it's like no big deal.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like that. They think, oh wow, I make so much money, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and then somebody comes and humbles you real quick and helps you to take off some of that, helps to lighten your pockets a little bit, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, maybe I should have behaved myself. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it just goes back to.
I know some people they won't stop. They keep doing it. It's a mindset thing. They don't see it like that. They just see it as next week I'm gonna make more money, and that's that.
Well, to your point, Maddie, because you are making a very good point. Mm-hmm. This behavior of Andre Young, aka Dr. Dre, is consistent with previous relationships. He has been in multiple relationships, has multiple children from these said relationships.
Well, there you go. See, you think about that.
His previous relationship prior to Nicole, who was the wife of 24 years, he was with an artist, and maybe you'll recognize her face. I don't know if you'll recognize the name, but this artist right here is Michelle. Do you remember an artist from the early 90s? I think she was like early 90s, maybe late 80s, but I think more early 90s. I don't remember what the hit was that she had, but I know that she had a hit. She had a hit. But that was
Interesting.
yeah, Michelle.
I gotta look her up.
Yeah, Michelle. She had a really funny voice. Like she used to talk like it sounded like a little kid. Like that was like kind of her her brand. Was she had like this really kid-like voice and was a grown up, you know. So when it sounded like she was a kid though. So that was like her thing. But she had a hit. I don't remember what the hit was. Have you found it, Tyrone?
I'm looking for the actual song right now. Let's see. She got an album here. What's the hit? All right, now I'm gonna have to go to Spotify and look at her most famous one. Please continue while I do my research.
Well, it basically taps into what I was getting into next, which is the fact that he has all of these different kids from different relationships. One of the things that has come up in news most recently is the relationship with one of his daughters, Latanya. Latanya is a 37-year-old mother of four, who most recently made news when she went on, social media, and a couple of media outlets got a hold of it, and she was saying that she was homeless. Um, I did a little research on Miss Latanya. Now, remember I said Latanya has four kids. Latanya is 37 years old. Dr. Dre met her mother and had Latanya when he was 16 years old.
Wow.
The mother of Latanya was 14 years old when they met. She had Latanya when she was 15 years old. They, dealt with each other for the next 5 years. And in the midst of that 5-year relationship, he had two more daughters with Lisa Johnson, who is the mother of Latanya. And these are her other two sisters that are also daughters of Dr. Dre. Now, the ordeal that we're talking about specifically with Latanya is the fact that she's saying, that she's reached out to Dr. Dre multiple times, and no one's responding and everything like that. Well, prior to all of this news, Latanya was receiving an allowance, and also having her rent paid by her father up until January 2020 of last year. Now, these new statements as far as her being homeless are recent, like as of last week, she said this. So this kind of gets to this brings up a very touchy subject, because as a parent, you are a parent, I'm a parent, we love our children, but is there a point as a parent where you have to step away and allow your children to grow up and be grown-ups and adults? What say you, Madeline?
I think it should start from when they're little. You have to show them responsibilities, and even like if you give a child $100, if you give them $100 or $50, whatever, try to show them how to, just spend 30% of it, so they learn how to manage money and save money. But there's so many parents, especially stars and football players and basketball players and all these high tide people, they just spoil their children. They just give them everything, and they're hindering them from growing. And then they grow up. When their children are an adult, they sitting there like, where did I go wrong? Hello, look back and see what you did. You didn't teach them anything. You taught them that, having this entitlement, it's okay. You authorize that. So the fact that Dr. Dre is, was paying her all this money and allowance and paying her rent, and he wasn't teaching her anything. You can help your children, but teach them how to be, responsible too, to continue that generation. Like now, if he dies, she doesn't even know how to run a business. He didn't teach her that. She's gonna be stuck. She thinks she's stuck now. She's really gonna be stuck. I mean, unless he has her on the will, but if he doesn't have her on the will, she's not gonna have anything, and all because he didn't take the time to teach her. He spoiled her.
Well, this is the thing. This is the part that I maybe forgot to mention. After the 5-year relationship with LaTanya's mother, Lisa, Dr. Dre then actually never saw them anymore. So that was like he disconnected from the mother, from the girls, after that 5-year period, because she says she has not seen him in 17 years. Like she says, I haven't seen him in 17 years. So he's pretty much been disconnected from her life, basically most of her life. He may have come back, here and there and everything like that. But for the most part, she's saying she has not talked to him, I guess physically talked to him, in 17 years. All she interacts through is his staff. And so based on what you said, which is he taught her how to not be responsible, is it then his responsibility to bail her out again since you didn't teach her?
Yes and no. It's like you created this, you started this, so you need to continue it, right? Or if you don't want to continue it, then you're just gonna get her. You're gonna have that child upset at you, angry, especially if she's not seeing the whole picture. And I need to grow up. If she's on that mindset that, pointing fingers and I'm entitled, you're supposed to do this, then yeah, she's going to always feel that. If she starts changing her mindset and say, you know what, my father was there for me, I should have been learning at that time, but I didn't, so I need to do it now, then she's not going to suffer. But not too many people want to take that road. It's just like, he was doing it and that's that. I mean, he finally said he's not going to do it. But I think I read something about that he stopped because she was talking about him, which is so immature. But it wasn't something. It was something.
You're right. But this is not the first time. Actually, this is I believe the second time, or maybe more times than that. But I know that he told her not to. If she did it again, he would cut her off. Now, if you know that this is the one way that you live and survive is through your father, and you know that you have no other means of supporting yourself, then you sabotaged yourself. So whatever the outcome is after that, you have to deal with it because you made that choice to do that. So if he was taking care, and furthermore, he was paying her rent and giving her an allowance for all of these years. Where's your money? You didn't stack none of that money. You didn't have to pay no rent.
Why was she? She's irresponsible. If she wasn't irresponsible, he wouldn't even have to give her any money. And if he did give her that money, by now she would have had multiple businesses that she could lean on.
Well, and she does have kids too, which I don't know for sure, but I have heard
that you need to go after.
Yeah, I've heard kids are quite expensive, but I don't have that experience. I do want to inject another issue in this thing because she does work. She works at a warehouse and she does like Uber Eats and DoorDash and stuff, according to the article that I read. So
I've heard multiple things about that too, Tyrone. So I don't know how true any of those statements are. I mean, other than the fact that I saw a picture with her with a DoorDash t-shirt on that looked like maybe she was delivering for DoorDash.
Yeah.
And maybe he's trying to teach her a lesson now, but it's like it's hard to teach old dog new tricks. He should have done that years ago. And this is probably what he's trying to do. And maybe he'll give in and say, you know what, let me help my daughter because it's in his heart. And he's just trying to, teach her a lesson. But sometimes parents don't teach the lesson long enough for them to learn. They wind up giving in. That tough love really works sometimes.
Well, Lisa, well, go ahead, Tyrone. You had a point, so I want you to make your point, and then we'll address this comment that Lisa made.
Oh yeah, I do want to. I want to inject in because you know how I like to do this. I like to point to the big picture issues. So yes, Dr. Dre. He could probably. I think he could probably help out more. I mean, she's got kids, she's going through a hard time. I mean, we are in a global pandemic. It may be harder for her to find a job. It's not exactly. It's not exactly great out there for people who are working hourly jobs and stuff like that. I mean, we got plenty of people who are working 40 hours a week, sometimes even more, and barely making it or not making it. So there is while yes, you could say that Dr. Dre failed his daughter in a lot of ways. Society has also failed her in that we are in a situation where people can be working and can be working hard and still be poor and still be homeless and still have a hard time. So I just want to point that part of it out that it doesn't seem like she's just sitting around waiting for money. Based on what I read, it seems like she's working to whatever extent she can, and it's just hard. I see that a lot. I see a lot of people who had to pick up odd jobs during the pandemic, and they're doing what they can to make some money and still having a hard time making ends meet. So I sympathize with her there, but that doesn't take away from the idea that as parents you do have a certain responsibility to prepare your kids for the world.
Mm-hmm.
If it's debatable whether or not Dre did. If he was not around for that long, it's probably safe to say that he probably didn't. But at the same time, if let's say she did go and work, and still she ended up in this situation, there's enough blame to go around, some of which can be just kind of like thrown out into the ether because we just there's a lot of people in this same situation who don't have nearly billionaire rapper fathers that they can hit up for some money.
Mm-hmm. Lisa made a very good point, and I want to address this point because this is kind of the reason we have the show, and the title is "Fuck Them Kids," because one of the things about it is if we allow our children to go on their entire lives depending on us as parents and never let them go, because at some point, as it is with every parent, you are going to have to let go of your children and allow them to fail, allow them to fall, allow them to do whatever it is that they need to do so they can learn how to deal in that situation.
Right.
And as much as it may burden you and hurt you because your child is homeless and they don't have a place to stay, we cannot overlook the fact that Dr. Dre, despite the fact that maybe he wasn't a present father, he made means for these young ladies. And I say young ladies because I did the research, and the other two girls, even though he may not be in their lives well, he does in fact pay them an allowance every month. One of his daughters gets $5,000 a month. So that's $5,000 she gets on top of whatever she makes. So that's a pretty damn good deal. Even though you don't get to see your dad and the grandchildren. So fuck them. You know what I'm saying? Just like it's fuck the kids, it's fuck him too, if that's how it plays out. But again, we can't actually persecute or say that, and I'm not saying you did, but we can't really come down on Andre in this regard because he took care of this young lady up until last year. She's 37 years old. So that means he's went well over the 18 mark, which is typically adulthood when your child reaches adulthood and they are, by our standards, the ones able to take care of themselves. So as much as I feel you as a mother, like the idea of him paying her rent and buying her a condo when he's already been pretty much giving her the money to do so, that just doesn't seem like a bright idea. It seems like you're going to be right back here when that lease runs out on that condo, or something breaks in there and she doesn't have money to take. You're going to be right back in there. So listen, as a father, I don't want to see that happen to my daughter. I don't want to see that happen to my son, just like you don't want to see it happen to your child. But damn it, 37, 4 kids. Where's the baby daddies? Nobody's holding them accountable. And, Tyrone's even over here like, look, she's out here working. She moved to California because she said there would be a better opportunity for jobs. Well, the part that she failed to, I guess, account for is that it costs more to live in California than probably almost anywhere in the United States. Am I right about that, Tyrone?
Cost of living is very high there. Yeah, I don't know where it ranks, but it's very high. Yeah.
Yeah. So that it just doesn't make sense. A lot of it just doesn't make sense, man. So we don't want to. That's what we came here for. It's fuck them kids, but we're not talking about the little ones. We love here at the Multiverse. We love the kids.
The little ones. You have to start showing the little ones now before they get at a certain age. You know what I'm saying? You have to start working on your children now. The minute they start talking, you need to start showing them how to be responsible. So that they won't. I mean, I say not to help your children. I'm not saying that. But once they get a certain age, they have learned that, they have practiced that, because practice makes perfect. Practice habits. You got good habits, you got bad habits. So whatever you practice, you get good at. So if you having them practice how to be responsible and practice to know how to take care of themselves, even on stressful situation. I've been in stressful situation and I've never, thank God, had to really ask anybody to help me. I do what I have to do. I'm an entrepreneur and I'm going to strive. I'm going to go and move forward. But there's some people that don't. They want to sit home and feel sorry for themselves and cry and just, point fingers. I'm in this situation because there's nobody owes us anything. Nobody. Not even our parents. Nobody. Not even our husbands or our wives. Nobody owes us anything. And a lot of people always want to point, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. And that's why so many people are so miserable.
Yo, so let me ask you this, because this is another great question. So as a grandmother, if in this situation, like, how would that make you feel, like, with the grandchildren, like, in that situation? Like, I mean, yeah, you don't want to help her because she's toxic and she's a fuck up, but there's kids involved. Like, how does one maneuver in that situation?
You asking me?
Yeah.
So are you going back what she just said here? Do the grandmothers have to suffer too because the mother is?
Well, do the grandchildren have to suffer because the mother is irresponsible?
Well, honestly, I know people don't want to hear this, but honestly, it starts with the grandmother. If we don't know if we don't teach our children are not going to teach their children. So it's a generational curse. It just goes from generation to generational until you don't. If my mother's mother didn't teach my mother's not going to teach me. So she doesn't know what to teach me.
Mm.
So how can I teach my children if she didn't teach me and her mother didn't teach her? It's a generational curse. That's why some people say, stops here with me. I'm not going to pass that generational curse to my children. So they have to take the time and study and do whatever it takes to break that root, that curse, whatever it is. So if the grandmother's suffering or the grandchildren suffering, it's really the grandmother's fault for not teaching her daughter. Her daughter don't know how to teach her children. So
it all goes back to the father, to Dr. Dre and Lisa Johnson, which is the mother of LaTanya. So
and then look, children having children. She was 15 having that little daughter. She didn't know no better. Mm-hmm. Her mother should have been teaching her not to be having sex at that age. Okay, and if she did, then she needed to teach her how to be a grown-up. There's so many people, adults, that need to reparent their inner child. There's so many people walking around like newborns, babies.
Mm-hmm. So
it all starts from our generation, our great grandparents. If they didn't teach, it goes on. This is why I'm so big on studying as much as I can to save our future children. Whenever I get with somebody, I try to teach them, hey, teach your children what you didn't know. And if you don't know it, You don't know what to teach your children? Study. There's so much free information on the internet. Free. I can understand our great grandparents didn't, because they didn't have all this YouTube and all these videos. But there's so much information in the internet now that people can study for free. You don't have to go to no doctor or to no school. You can just study it and change your mindset, educate yourself so you can pass it on to your children. Listen, a parent is not a good parent because they have a roof over their head or clothes on their back or food. A good parent is when you become a teacher to your children, to teach them so they can be better than you.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know that in this situation for either Andre or Lisa, because I think, again, you spoke to it. They were kids themselves. I don't know that anybody taught them. They were at 14 and
whatever you practice, you get good at. So at an age of 15, if nobody taught you anything, at 16, you still know that, but more, because you're either gonna get good at good or bad at good, right? So at 17, she didn't learn anything. At 18, she didn't learn it. And whatever she practiced from young, she took it to her adulthood, and that's all she knows. Until one person finally says, I need to change this. Like, what's going on? They have to do that themselves. That's why they say we can't change people. We have to do it ourselves, right? And if neither one of them did that, that's why they have the chaos they have now with their children. And as a parent, they didn't, because if they did, this wouldn't be happening. Now,
Facebook user, I don't know who this is, man. Make your name present, and I'll definitely go ahead and shout you out. But you've been putting out some really good questions. In this case, yeah, I think that's exactly what happens. I think they do fall through the cracks because
unless one of them decides to say, I'm done with this and I need to be the one.
Absolutely. It does fall then on the responsibility of the individual to make that decision and change the generational curse that's going on.
But it does. I mean, we do have to remember, from what we know, from what she said and articles and stuff, she's working. Like she's trying. It's not like, that's the thing. I want to make it because it's not like she's sitting out there with her hand out.
She has to, because nobody's giving her money. She's like, I have to eat.
Right. And there. So what I get at there, because I grew up with that mentality of like, if that's what my parents taught me, the whole idea of if you fail, it's your fault. Right. The pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality. That mentality is something that is really ingrained in kind of not just American life, but kind of just like Western life and a lot of, just a lot of the world, just because we live in a mostly capitalist society that values humans based on what they can produce. And of course, how much they can consume. So, those things set us up for certain types of failure, because we're in the way this system is, we're always going to have people who can't get past a certain level. There are always going to be people who are doing less skilled jobs for less money than it takes to live, especially as prices go up. And like you said, cost of living in certain places goes up. And those places happen to be the ones with all the opportunities and all the jobs. I mean, sure, she could probably go to Oklahoma and make some money, doing something at a factory or something like that. But, I don't know what kind of quality of life she's going to have in Oklahoma. But, it's those kind of things that make those decisions very difficult. So, the idea that you might have to lower your quality of life so you can just survive. So you and your kids can just survive. I think that is something. I think that's something that we have to take off of people. The idea that if we can't produce enough, then we don't deserve to survive. We don't deserve food. We don't deserve shelter, those kind of things. This is me personally. I'm a little bit out of the idea that somebody should only, basically be allowed to live if they work extra hard or it work to a certain standard, that kind of thing. So when I come at it from this angle, it's very much, I believe that every human being is entitled to a certain standard of dignity and life. And when we see situations like this, a lot of times, like, yeah, there are things that people can do personally to help themselves out of the situation, but sometimes there's just not. And we also live in a system and live in a situation where by design, there are going to be those people who just can't make it because this system is not designed for everybody to make it.
Because that's what they put in their mind.
And I was about to say that too. And I'm glad.
Whatever they tell themselves is what they're gonna do. What's gonna happen.
I'm glad you brought that up because I was about to get you on that one too, Tyrone. Nah, see that it's a lot of things. It's your decision making. Like, first of all, she could have made the right decisions long ago, just because after a while of doing the same thing over and over and over again, and coming out with the same response, like at some point you have to say, okay, enough is enough. Now, in your defense, what you were saying is she's out there working. Yes, but if you're working at DoorDash or working at Uber, like you could probably come up out of the hole, but you're gonna have to work your ass off way harder than you should. Or you, instead of going to DoorDash and working at Uber, you could try to get a job that is making enough money to where you don't have. And again,
she doesn't want to, because she doesn't want nobody to tell her what to do. She wants her freedom still. DoorDash and Uber, you still have your freedom, even though you're busting your butt, but you have nobody.
I mean, that's a lot of stuff to put on somebody we don't know and we haven't heard this is the case and that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? So, and that's what I'm getting at is, I get it that working at Uber Eats or working for DoorDash isn't a glamorous job. It's not something that you look at as a way to make yourself rich or whatever. But DoorDash and Uber Eats, they were some popular ass people for the last year, not getting paid well for putting themselves in danger, stuff like that. So what I'm saying is, at least, for people who can work and people who do work.
I did it for a whole year. I did Uber for a whole year because nobody was hiring at the pandemic time. But Ty knows that I was putting application out there, and I finally, in May of this year, I got an offer through a bank, and I've been working with them. So I mean, you can do it just for temporary, just to get you by, but that's not something that you should be staying, to stay doing. Can I just answer Lisa's question? Comment?
Yes.
Okay, before this one, she has said something about her sister, that she turned out well, I think something like that, and her sister didn't. And her mother, bust her butt and work. Yeah, you're right. But see, some people are, they just don't get it. Like, some people are born with, you got common sense, and then you got book smart people, and then you got common sense smart people, or whatever, however you want to word it. Some people don't have that. So I know some siblings that one just does right, doesn't have to be disciplined, and the other one doesn't. But that also plays a part in the parents. Again, it goes back to the parent, because if that child is doing stuff that she shouldn't be doing and getting away with it, there's no consequences behind her behavior, then she's never going to learn from that. And it starts from when they little. Like, the minute they start talking, you need to start showing your children consequences, breaking habits, breaking mindsets. Children are born. The minute they come out, they are born crying. Okay? If you change a child's diaper and you feed them and you burp them and you put them in a playpen or in a crib and they cry and you pick them up and they stop crying, that's automatically, you authorize an entitlement. And then some people just stay that way. And if a parent don't nip it and don't stop it, then it stays like that. You have some parents that tell children, hey, if you do that again, you're not going to go to the pool. And guess what? They get to go to the pool. They don't teach them anything. You need to show children consequences. I mean what I say. And I said, if you do that again, you're not going to do this. And it's not going to happen the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time. It might be about the 100th time, but they'll finally get that you mean what you say. And most parents don't give it that much time. They say it doesn't work. It doesn't work because you didn't keep doing it. So I understand. I know some siblings that one does really well and the other one doesn't. But again, it's if your mother did not show her consequences, that's why she's that way.
So you think that one of them, I mean, like as far because her question was more like about the sisters, and you're saying, so you're basically saying that one, one got showed consequences, the other didn't, and that's why they turned out that way, or was there some type of behavior from the mother? Because I'm assuming Lisa Johnson, which is the mother of the three, would have, and again, this is an assumption, they could have been raised by grandparents or aunts for all I know. I don't know. But what we do know is two of them are not homeless and two of them are, fine as far as they're not going out to the public saying they're not. So, I mean, what do you have to say to that in that regard?
So you asking me?
Yeah, because you were saying as far as like that, as far as like the reason that a child would act a certain way is based on the parent teaching them, responsibility or whatever it is, to go in that direction, in the right direction. And Lisa's question was, why is it that there were three daughters by the same mother and father, but only one of them is kind of going through all of these trials and tribulations right now, and the other?
I was actually going by what she said about her mother and her mother working hard. I think Lisa had put that her mother works hard, and her sister turned out to be one. I guess it wasn't disciplined, and she was. I think that's what I read. So that
No. She was actually referring to the Latanya Young,
okay,
other two sisters.
But we don't know the other two sisters, and I don't know their story to even say if they were disciplined or not.
Oh, okay. Well, Tyrone, do you have anything to kind of chime in on that and maybe give Lisa a little bit of perspective to maybe why that is?
As to why one kid would not succeed as much as others?
Yeah, yeah.
In the same household and stuff like that? Is that where we're...
Yeah, because they're three sisters by the same mother. And what you're seeing up here is that is Lisa Johnson. I know it looks I know probably you thought it was one of Dre's artists, but no, that is actually Latanya's mother, Lisa Johnson, which is Dre's baby mother 3 times over.
Yeah, I guess I don't really have. I think that story. I think the idea that these 3 kids grew up in the same household, 2 of them did okay and 1 of them didn't. I think that kind of if we're looking at what the evidence shows us, I guess that's saying, okay, it looks like 2/3 of these kids did pretty well, which we might be able to say the parents did a good enough job of instilling some sort of work ethic and values and things like that. So the only other thing left to do is to blame, if we're not blaming a system who leaves a lot of people behind and who exploits a lot of people. If we're not going to blame that, then we have to blame the person who's homeless and who's struggling. That's where I stop, because while I get that there are decisions people can make that can help themselves, sometimes there just aren't. I can't look at every homeless person in this country and in this world and be like, well, you fucked up. Sorry. You don't get to eat, or you don't get to, sleep under a roof or whatever. You know what I mean? Like that's going a little too far for me personally. So
everybody's different. We have billions of people that think alike and thousands that think differently. So sometimes when I tell people certain things, they look at me like I have 3 heads. But I'm telling you that if we change the mindset of the billions of people that think the same, you will see a change. So many people want to revert back to, that doesn't work. And that's why, because that's what they believe. This other person, this Facebook user said that she moved out. She went to Atlanta, I think, or whatever she said. And she asked him to pay her rent or something like that. And he told her no. And she never went hungry. He just taught her something. Good for you. And she's 61 years old and still don't go hungry.
Yeah, because she basically, instead of depending on somebody else
and feeling sorry for herself and pointing fingers that I'm entitled to this, she grew up.
Yeah.
And this is the problem with this world. That billions of people think the same. When I tell them this stuff, they look at me like I have 3 heads. I know it works. I've tried it. So it works. But it doesn't work for somebody that has that mindset that it doesn't work. They revert back to it doesn't work.
What you're seeing on the screen right now is just some of Dr. Dre's kids. I mean, he has a lot of them. I mean, you know, he was definitely, he took that be fruitful and multiply thing to the, yeah, he's out there getting it.
The only smart thing that he did was make something of himself by being a billionaire and a star and everything, but he hurt a lot of people. He did not impact a lot of people. He damaged a lot of people. All his children are probably damaged because he didn't have time to be a father. He was too busy, you know, doing his career and everything and having all these children and probably baby mama drama. And there's so many people in his family, in his pod, that are damaged.
I mean, if we value somebody based on how much money they can make, and he's making all that money, then he did the best job, right? I mean, like, he did the best thing he could possibly do by being somebody who's making all that money. You see that's what I get at here is if the only value, or if the most important value that we assign to people is how much money they can make, and that determines you know, where they stand as far as like their level of humanity, that's where things start getting hazy, because now we're saying, okay, well, yeah, you made all that money and that's great. You did everything right the way we think it should be done. You come up.
But he wasn't there as a daddy. A father's not paying child support and being there for the week. A father's there to, you know, to spend time with their children and grow with them and teach them. People failing to realize that. That's why there's so many adults are damaged and they hate their parents. There's so many, I've met so many people be like, my father, F him, you know, because he wasn't there. It has nothing to do with how much money you make or what child support you paid. It has to do with the time that you put in with your children to teach them. Teach them. Number one, you have become a teacher to your children, and not too many parents do that.
Nah, you're right. You're right. And I think that's a great point. And that is an opinion. And what Tyrone was basically saying is another side of the coin. And ultimately we both get what you're saying as far as like it coming down to the time you spend with the child. But reality is that time ain't feeding no kids. Time is not
with them every day.
But what we're saying in this case is if you're going out there to try to make a way for your kids to have a future, for your family to be stable and secure, then Dr. Dre did the formula. He drunk the formula and aced that he became
But he failed to teach them that formula because he was giving, and now they're sitting there like, I need money. Well, the formula that he was supposed to teach them is the formula that he taught himself to pass on to the generation.
Well, his formula was to get it on his own. That was his formula. His formula wasn't, I need my family to back me and tell me what, and give me the money. That wasn't Dre's story. Dre was from South Central.
I'm confused. What I'm saying is, if what he did was amazing, he became this big person, this big billionaire, whatever, but he needed to pass that on to his children, not just give.
That's the thing. So we had we idolize people who make billions of dollars and who are able to get this generational wealth, so they can basically take care of their families for generations. I mean, whether it's monarchs or whether it's billionaires or whatever, like, these are people that are considered to be the most successful people in the world. So they can just, pretty much, nobody expects Elon Musk's kid, whenever he has a kid, to work. You know what I mean? Nobody expects whatever kids pop out of Jeff Bezos's people, to work or anything like that. No, but we also don't. But we also don't, like, whenever. So they're fine or whatever. But when we look at those rich kids, we don't say that person is failing because they're not working hard enough. You know what I mean? We're like, oh, they have money, so they're good. And then there are people who don't come up in that situation, and they have a lot of challenges to overcome.
That's why he's saying fuck them kids.
Well, no. That's not why I'm saying fuck them kids. I'm only saying fuck them kids individually because there are people
adults now that wasn't taught, and that's why they're adults. And
it's not even about it's okay. At some point, being taught is no longer an excuse you can use. Like at some point, you have to take accountability of being an adult, especially when you're raising 4 more adults.
Whatever you practice, you get good at. She has practiced that behavior, and that's what she knows, and that's what she believes, and she doesn't see nothing else.
You're right. You're right, but we're not going to act as though just because that is the case that it excuses anything. Like that's what we're saying. That's why I said fuck them kids individually, because there are people who are going to take advantage of you if you allow them to. And that's when you have to say, as soon as somebody starts using you and taking advantage of you,
you gotta step back.
Tell them fuck you. You have to give them, you have to tell them, and you have to let them know that it's a fuck you. So fuck you means excusing yourself from that situation so you can no longer take advantage of me. Now, if you want to come back at some point and, address me the right way, cool. Then we can move forward in that way, especially if it's your child. But if not, then fuck you. As long, it's just got to be that way. And I'm glad that Andre Young's fuck you turned into LaTanya's drive mechanism building up, and now she's out there busting her ass trying to get it.
That's what we should have done a long time ago.
Oh, and we don't know that she wasn't. You know what I mean? Like again, I that's where I stop. I stop at the idea that
you
everybody.
Really think that she went,
hold on,
give
me just a second. Well, there's nothing. There's no reason.
What was she getting? 50,000?
I don't know. I have no idea.
We don't know what she was getting. That's
right.
It. We don't know what she was.
My point is, I can't. Where I stop at believing everybody who tries hard enough is going to win. It's just simply not the case. That's not the way that our country or our world is designed. So I stop at the idea of maybe she's not. Well, I mean, maybe she's not, but like maybe she's not working hard enough. She has a job. She has a couple jobs from what I've read and from what she's saying, and she's still having a hard time making ends meet. Her kids are staying with friends. She's living in her car. That to me is less a failure of Dre or even her own, and more a failure of basically a system that lets people work and also still be homeless and also still have a hard time feeding their kids and stuff. You know what I mean? So, and I get it. Like, I'm somebody who, was able to, get a job and buy a house and things like that. And like, I didn't get anything. I didn't get any money from my parents or anything. I mean, they did a great job raising me and I never went without, but I wasn't getting handouts or anything. But
I worked at Uber for a whole year. My bills were almost $4,000 a month, and I was able to pay my rent, my light, my phone, my cable, my car note, my insurance, my credit cards. So unless she's living she's living out of a car. So if she's working at Uber and the other stuff, she should be able to have an apartment.
And I'm actually gonna have to agree with you there, Maddie, because this all is as much as Tyrone, because Tyrone again is our resident optimist. And one of the things that I would say, and this is not a judging thing. This is just what it is. Her decision making is what caused all of these things to happen. Because at some point, again, from January 2020 to now, there was just a lapse of decision making.
But what else happened in January 2020 that may have hurt? It hurt a lot of people. And
what also happened throughout all of that? People were collecting unemployment. People were collecting checks for their kids.
Stimulus.
So she's got 4 kids, by the way. So she should have been getting a nice little chunk. And the along with the unemployment amounts that people were getting, if she was working at all prior to pandemic, she should have still been able to maintain. And again, up until January 2020, Dre was paying her rent and giving her an allowance. So at some point, we have to hold people accountable for the choices they make. Now, if you were saying this, if this was a discussion about a young girl that's growing up in the inner city of New Jersey and low income housing and has never had a leg up, that's a different discussion and a different argument. I then am totally with you as far as the world and the system not giving this girl a fair chance at being successful. But we're not talking about that girl. We're talking about a girl who for the last 36 years has not had to pay any rent and has been getting an allowance for 36 years. So at this point, the idea that life is just handing her like, spoiled eggs and all of this, that's not the case, bro. And we can't excuse it. That's why the name of this show is Fuck Them Kids. It's specifically for people like her, not the people that are low and down and out and we know that you just need a leg up and somebody to help you or extend you some type of. No, we are not talking about those people. I know those people. I've been around those people and I totally agree with you with what you're saying about those type of people. Not this lady. Fuck her. Like,
this is going to be one of those. It's going to be one of those situations where we have to agree to disagree, because I don't sympathize with Dr. Dre, because I mean Dr. Dre's rich and whatever. Like I don't sympathize with him. But when I see somebody who is struggling to make ends meet, who is working, who has kids who are also struggling because of this, I have a hard time being like, oh well. You know what I mean? That's just me. I have a hard time just looking at somebody who's in that situation and being like, oh, well, no. Oh. But I mean, just anybody, like just anybody who is like, anybody who finds himself in that situation, I just have a hard time being like, well, sorry for you. And that's just me.
Yeah, and again, that's why I love you, brother. You got the, like I said, you when it comes to it, you're the resident optimist. But in this case, no, this is an absolute 36 years of your life. You've been catered to.
So you mean to tell me that if you had a child that was 37 years old and if you have supported this child for 36 years and this child hasn't done anything for themselves, they're just not doing anything.
Babies.
Just making babies, just doing stuff that you telling me that you're gonna sit there and be like, yeah, sure, I'll still pay your rent.
I mean, if I got the money to, yeah. I mean, but then we also heard that she was bad mouthing her father, just treating him, saying, I guess that's why he was mad, right? Something like that, Ty. That he mad that she was talking about him. He's like, yeah, you're gonna sit there and talk about me, and I'm supporting you. Well, guess what? I'm not gonna support you anymore. I mean, and that's fine. If that's a decision that he made, that's cool. But I still don't. Somebody.
You're such a sweetheart.
No, I can't. And it's not unusual for people to look at somebody in that situation and think, what did they do to get there? Because that's the way we've been taught to think about this whole thing. If you just work hard enough and if you try hard enough, then you're going to get what you need in life and you're going to get what you want in life. Anybody who doesn't work hard enough or doesn't try hard enough doesn't get what they need or doesn't get what they want in life. So, that lets us kind of just devalue those people and just be like, sorry.
No, it's just tough love. It's trying to teach them. That's all it is. He did it for 36 years. He didn't do it when she hit 18. He stopped. Hey, you 18 now. You're on your own. He did it for 36 years. She's a grown up, having sex, having babies, just being reckless. He should have done this a long time ago. And I feel bad for her because her mindset is not there. She doesn't even understand. She's confused. She's walking around like a dead person, probably lost.
Well, that's right.
How did I get here?
I know that's right. That's it. I mean, maybe it wasn't this way for her 7 months ago, 7 months ago. Maybe it wasn't. But yeah, there are a lot of jobs out here. And specifically the type of jobs that she would need, because I'm gonna be honest, having 4 children working Uber and DoorDash is not gonna cut it. Like if you're especially in California, that shit would barely cut it on the East Coast. So for you to be trying to do work DoorDash and And
you have to work at least 10 hours to make a nice check. I know, I did.
And look, and you talking about making a check for you to support you, not support you
and not have to be here for the children.
For other kids. And we're not talking about little kids. Her children are 16, 13, 8, and 3. So she's got like they're rangy. So like she's got like you're not gonna be you're gonna have to do, you know. So again, I get what Tyrone is saying, because he just always sees the good. And that's why we call him Good Ty. But in this case, no. It is just not one of those things. And even Lisa, who normally would agree with you, Tyrone, said her situation doesn't mean she's worthless. Her situation sucks, but in the specific case, it's one that she shouldn't find herself in if she's been taken care of for 36 years. And that is my point.
Exactly.
Like
if this is smart enough and been banking some money, getting some property, building some stuff, so that when her father decides
anything,
and here's
like,
and that's
so much, just putting a little up, just putting some up.
That's good. If she has to put up, that's good. That's fine. But what I'm talking about is somebody who's right now working and basically can't survive, doesn't have a roof over their head, doesn't have a roof for their kids. That's a problem. That's the problem, is somebody like, and we have so many people in this country that are working many jobs, that are working low paying jobs. And it's not that it's not that they're making the decision, I want to work at this place for the rest of my life because this is the decision I'm making, and anybody else tells me different can fuck off, and I feel entitled to whatever. This is the way things are designed. You know what I mean? So she's working, and it's just, I believe that if people should have a standard for dignity and a standard for life just because they're human beings. I wholeheartedly believe that. But even if I just step back from that for a moment, I 100% believe that anybody who's working a job in this country, especially when it's making somebody else rich, like people who own Uber, people who own DoorDash, McDonald's, Wendy's, the grocery store, the gas stations, whatever, all these companies making money like left and right, and even more during the pandemic, while work for them are broke and struggling and don't have roofs over their heads and don't have food to put in their kids' mouths. That's something I can't blame the people for that. I blame the system for that.
97% of people are employed from 3% that didn't quit.
Well, and I'm glad you say, man, I'm glad you're here today, because I didn't want to.
97% of people are employed from 3% that didn't quit.
Yeah. Well, I'll say this much to what you just said, Tyrone. As a person who does not have a college degree and has had some of the best jobs that a person who doesn't have a college degree should not have, I will not allow people to continue to have this train of thinking where you limit yourself because you think that's all that there is for you. As long as you put your mind in that set, you are going to get just what you think you can get. But if you reach and you try to attain outside of what typically people would say that you're accustomed to or even experienced for, because the jobs that I walked in with no experience, sir, and walked out with jobs that I should have never had. But do you know why? Because when I went in there, I didn't have the thought process in my head as though I shouldn't have it, or that I can't attain it, even though the system is set up. Sir, to make sure that I don't succeed. But if I continue to allow that to be my crutch, then I will not succeed. And that is why I am going to stand firmly on this fuck her and fuck them kids and whoever else is out there that is perpetuating this mindset. Listen, stop it. Stop. Whether you're Dr. Dre's kid or you're just Allie or you're Joe from the block, whoever you are, stop. Do what you want to do out here in this world. Don't let people tell you what you can't do. Do what you want to do. Go out here and strive to be better. If you accomplish it, cool. If you don't, do what you want to do. But if you continue to allow that to be my crutch, then I will not succeed. And that is why I am going to stand firmly on this fuck her and fuck them kids and whoever else is out there that is perpetuating this mindset. Keep going. Don't stop. And for this young lady, all I can tell her is in order with 4 kids, stop going and applying at Uber and DoorDash and go apply it at a Fortune 500 company.
Yeah, stop being poor is the that's what it sounds like though. That's what it sounds like.
It might sound like that because that's what you're hearing, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is if she's going and applying at DoorDash and at Uber, she's limiting her thinking to something small. If you're applying at places that are career jobs or jobs that are going to provide you with a 401k, a job that's going to provide you with some type of health insurance, because you get neither of those things through Uber or DoorDash. I know because I've worked Uber before. So you don't get any of those type of benefits. And these are things that you want to look for.
Well, most people work Uber and DoorDash because it's an easy job.
Yeah,
you can do whatever you want. You get up. Nobody tells you when to come in, when not to come in. You don't have to call in and say, hey, I'm not coming in today. It's laziness. I know. I did it for a year, but I only did that for a year because I was applying and no one was hiring. But as soon as somebody hired, I let that go. I was a very disciplined, I could tell you, I was a very disciplined Uber driver. Every day I did 2 shifts from 5 hours in the morning and 5 hours at night, but not too many people do that. But there were some days where like, no, I don't feel like working. I didn't have to call in and ask if I can take this day off.
And you had the option as well. And that's what I keep saying, because you don't have 4 other mouths to feed. If you had 4 kids, right now, Maddie, if you had 4 kids, would you have taken the job at Uber knowing that you need health insurance, whatever else it is that you need to feed 4
I mean, I would if I couldn't get no other job.
But you're going to be applying at jobs that you know that you need to.
Definitely.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know that she is or she isn't. But what I'm saying is ultimately the mindset. And that's what I don't want people to keep getting into this, because Tyrone, again, you're the optimist, and I love you for it, bro.
Well, that's actually my take on that is more cynicism than it is optimism. It's that we are that this mode of thinking that because there aren't as many of these jobs you're talking about as there are people to do them. Like, there are more people than those jobs. Like, that's just the reality of this situation.
But during pandemic, correct me if I'm wrong, nobody wanted to work.
Well, first of all, yeah, that's definitely wrong, because it's not a matter of people not wanting to work. It's a matter of people not wanting to work for peanuts while putting their lives in danger. Like, people who are working, like working DoorDash and working Uber and stuff like that during a pandemic, that's stuff that's dangerous. You know what I mean? That's stuff where you're in the middle of a pandemic with a contagious virus. You're going up to people and delivering food, or you got them in your car and that kind of stuff. And the company's like, all right, good luck out there. We're gonna pay you the same amount.
And I'm gonna rebuttal your bite back on me, because no, people didn't want to work because it was more. You could make more money staying at home than going to work.
But that's not a people problem though. That means that there are companies out there paying less than a living wage for way too much work, and that because if unemployment and if the stimulus checks that we were getting, which weren't a lot, like
maybe for you it wasn't a lot, but there were people clocking $1,200, $1,800 checks, $800 checks. I know that there were a lot of people.
And those people have more mouths to feed. But what I'm saying though is that's not.
They really
no,
did.
I was working Uber, and I met a lot of people that got in my car that said they haven't worked in so many months, and they were working out of Disney World, and they were getting paid like maybe $500 a week, and they were getting $1,200 from unemployment. They were like, I'm not going back to work.
Yeah, and we know that Disney notoriously underpays their employees.
No, but okay, I'm getting your point, but I think you're failing to miss mine, because this is not about a people thing or anything. All I was saying was that during pandemic, more people were not working than any time before, because it was more beneficial for them not to work. People were quitting their jobs to collect unemployment, and the idea that you're saying you're like, oh no, that wasn't happening. I beg to differ.
No, I didn't say that wasn't happening. I was saying they were doing that because they were able to make more money than they were at their jobs, which are paying them less than a living wage. What I'm saying is when y'all worked for Uber and when y'all worked for DoorDash and stuff, you should have been getting paid more money. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that there are companies out there that need to be paying people more. Just because, like, I'm not going to go up to somebody at Wendy's, somebody at McDonald's, and be like, hey, if you want to make more money, go get a different job, because I'm over here asking these people for food. You know what I mean? This is somebody, like, these people are providing a service for me. I think they should be able to live on the paycheck from their job. That's all I'm saying. All I'm saying is people deserve to get paid enough to live, is what I'm saying.
Maybe I'm wrong for saying this, but I feel that somebody that works at a fast food restaurant should be somebody that's like in school just as a part-time, to make some little bit of money and everything. And then when, you graduate high school and go to college, you're supposed to grow.
But that's
fast food restaurants should be,
idea,
to hold you off from it. But that's just my opinion.
No, and I hear you, and I think that's a popular opinion, and I think that's a common opinion. The problem with that opinion, there's a lot of grown people who work at these jobs, a lot of people who are 30, 40 years old, a lot of people who are career people.
That's what they believe, that they can. That's the highest they can go.
But that's what I'm saying. There's this scale of worth that we put on jobs, where, like, the job that I do, for example, I work for a bank. I work out of my home, and I don't work nearly as hard as anybody who works at McDonald's. I don't work nearly as hard as anybody who works at Wendy's or DoorDash or Uber or anything like that. But I get paid way more than they do.
The less you work.
And you know what, Tyrone, you brought that point up, and that's the kind of the whole reason I even spoke about this mentality, is because there are so many people that don't realize that. And it's because they've never ever tried to even, like, I have friends, personal friends, that I've told about jobs like these, like this constantly. I've told them about them. I'm like, yo, you can go work a customer service job and you can make, this amount of money and sit on your butt and do way less. You might have to hear some, but you hear that at, McDonald's or whatever. They have no idea, because as soon as I say that, the first thing that comes out their mouth is, oh, that's something technical. I don't know anything about computers. You don't even realize that was even an option, because you literally put yourself in this box to think that the only jobs that I should apply for are the ones that I think I can do. And that's what the mental is.
That I can get.
Well, and that's fine. And it's fine if people, if people want to do different things and want to grow into different areas. What I'm saying is that if people are working at these like restaurants or grocery stores or Uber or wherever else, they should be paid enough to live. That's all. Like, and it's not that there's something stopping this from happening. It's literally just greed that stops it from happening. It's the CEOs and all these other people getting paid millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, while the people that work for them and actually make their money for them are getting paid pennies. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I'm saying. So it's not, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that these people are let me just back up for a second. It's tough sometimes for me to hear, because I used to work in fast food. Like, I started in fast food and stuff. Yeah. And we know how hard that work is. If we're talking about valuing work ethic and hard work and that kind of thing, I don't know anybody who works harder than these people. You know what I mean? Like, that's a hard job, and it's difficult. So they should be getting paid.
Tyrone,
I have done.
Hold on. Now, what you doing now?
Maddie, I gotta talk about this, because fast food jobs were meant to be entry-level jobs, brother. They were meant to be for children.
That's not true. Like, no,
that is true, bro. Listen. Stop. Okay, let me finish this point, because you always do this. You always be like, no, that's not the. And I want to hear the facts and all this stuff that you got to follow this up, because this is really killing me. Fast food jobs were intended and always looked upon as entry-level jobs into the job force. That is why most kids usually start at a fast food place or something like that with their first job. These are not meant to be jobs for grown-ups who have families and stuff like that. So the idea that they should pay them so much money, yes, they should be paid according to the wherever they live, the cost of living and everything else. I agree there that fair pay should be with any job.
Yeah.
But this idea that these people don't have choices and that they can't make better decisions when it comes to picking these jobs. If I'm a 36-year-old person, I'm not going to apply at KFC or McDonald's or any of those places. I'm going to apply at jobs that can benefit my family ultimately. Now, whether or not I get them right away is a different story. But I have to put myself in the discussion for it to be any type of resolution or anything to happen from it.
So, I'm going to continue to side with the people whose labor is being exploited, so companies can make far too much money and not share that with the people who are actually providing the value and providing the service to their customers. I'm going to side with those people. That's just how it is. I wholeheartedly believe that that the people who are putting in the work should be the ones that get the money. That's it. Like that, and that's all I'm saying. Like I'm on your side. I'm on Maddie's side. I'm on Dr. Dre's daughter's side. I'm on the side of everybody who is working a job and working hard and not getting paid enough money for it. You know what I mean? So that's that's all I'm saying. I don't think that that fast food is some sort of lesser work. They have provided
level.
I honestly think that anybody that applies for a fast food restaurant is they don't believe in their mind that they can do better.
I have a hard time devaluing that work because it's something that I mean, if you look at the people who, like in the very beginning of this pandemic, especially the people who were expected to go to work, they were some of the people who were still expected to go to work and give food to people, while people like me got to sit home and work from home in the comfort of my house and not smelling like fry oil or anything like that, not dealing with customers yelling at me because I wouldn't, because they didn't want to wear a mask and stuff like that. So it's this idea that there's that because of the type of work that you're willing to do, that maybe you don't deserve to be paid at a higher level. I can't get behind that idea. I think that people who are, especially for these companies, that these companies are not hurting. McDonald's is not hurting. Like, you know what I mean?
It's a minimum wage. It's the government. It's a minimum wage.
And it's not about the companies hurting at this point. Like because the conversation,
wage.
like this is going to be this. We're
the minimum wage. We should wrap it up. But the minimum wage is not a living wage, and that's just the fact of the matter.
Find a better job.
It's not. But listen. But what he's saying has merit, and it in some places like over here, you can get a job at KFC and make $15 an hour right now. So I mean, it has changed in some aspects because people aren't coming to work. They're like, look, you either pay me or I'm not coming in. Yeah, so it is happening. But flip side of that, what also happens when that happens is everything goes up. Prices of little things that used to be like, I bought a bottle of water yesterday. That shit was $5.69. for a bottle of water that used to cost me probably $2 and some change. So, I mean, things like that will happen. I don't have a problem with that. I'm on board with the equal pay around the board, Tyrone. I just think that it's a deeper discussion about the mental of people who do go after these jobs, these entry-level jobs, and I'm not downplaying them, but they're entry-level jobs. For those people who sought after those jobs instead of striving for something that can accommodate them and their family, just because they think that it might be too hard, or maybe that you're not experienced enough. And that's a lot. That's the mental that we have a lot of times. Yes, $5 water, Lisa. Yes, I paid $5.69 for a water.
I just want, for anybody who might work at fast food, real quick, and this is the last thing I'll say. For anybody who might work at fast food, I want to thank you for providing a more important service, than I have ever provided anybody in my job that has allowed me to buy a house and stuff like that. You have given people more than I have given them, and it's I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair that we value work the way we do, and that that's I'm gonna take a step back and because we definitely went over, and we were like, we're not gonna do it, and we did it.
Yeah, we did it. No,
and that's my fault. Yeah,
no, it's cool. No, it's my fault. It's cool. No. So look, this is a whole nother topic. We'll come back and breach this because this is definitely something that we're both passionate about. So we're definitely gonna have to come back and have this discussion. Listen, Maddie, thank you so much for coming back.
Yes, thank you.
Joining the conversation and being so passionate and you know, just filling everybody up with all of the information that you always do when you come through. I want to give you an opportunity to plug whatever you know you got going on, any projects you're working on. If you want people to reach out to you, where they can reach you, things like that. Go ahead.
Oh, I have a Instagram. It's called Maddie Body Contour. I also do Herbalife. I put a lot of motivational stuff out there for parents and couples. And then my Facebook is just Maddie Akinyemi, and that's about it. But yeah, if you want to, you know, get some insight about relationships and parenting, I do put a lot of stuff out there.
All right, cool, yo. And if
you want some Herbalife products, Instagram.
And for everybody out there, Maddie is now working on like 2 or 3 books. So keep your eyes posted to announcements when that comes out. So
Thank you.
yeah, she really knows her stuff. So thank you again, Maddie, for coming through. Tyrone, look, I don't have to tell you what to do, man. Take the floor, do your thing.
Wednesday, 6:30, Multiverse. Saturdays, 9 a.m., a New Blurred Order. We are way over, so I'm going to leave it at that. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting and sharing and liking and all that good stuff. We'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys.
I'm going to do it quick.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I want to give a special shout out and thank everybody in the comment section. Y'all was lit today. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, TJ. Thank you, Facebook user. I wish you would have told me who you was. I would have shouted out your name. But everybody who came through to support the show, whether you liked it, whether you commented, whether you shared it, we appreciate all of the support. We appreciate all the love, and we are going to continue to bring you all that we can and have these type of conversations. Last note, I want to make sure that we as parents understand, don't allow yourselves to be taken advantage of, and that goes for your children too. You're doing a disservice to your children first and foremost. You're doing a disservice to yourself second, but your children first, because you're putting out people out there that have this level of entitlement and ultimately are going to be costing us more money as taxpayers because we're going to be the ones fitting the bill in the end. So again,
man,
yeah, it's true. It's the truth.
Yeah.
So again. Thank you for all the support from everybody. Thank you for everybody coming through to join us. We are the Multiversed. We do what we do, and we are out. So
bye.
No, we're not. Gotcha. All right. I forgot to mention MegaCon. We are at MegaCon. Thursday, Friday, Saturday in Orlando, Florida. I don't know how I did not mention that, but we are there. We are lit. Come through, stop through, come see us. We'll be out there with the booth. We got the merch on deck. Make sure you come through. Now we out. Peace, everybody.